Good day everyone. Welcome to my channel Quick Tech Master Mariner. Don't forget to like, subscribe and press the bell icon to get notification of all other videos.
All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're looking at the intense, incredibly high-stakes protocol required to safely conquer one of the most dangerous environments in the entire industrial world, a ballast tank. If you've ever wondered what it actually takes to step into a completely enclosed, often pitch black, and potentially oxygen-deprived steel void and make it out alive, well, you are in the right place. We're going to unpack the strict procedures that take a potentially fatal hazard and turn it into a calculated, safe operation. Just take a look at this incredibly detailed cross-section here. You've got workers decked out in high-visibility orange suits, wrestling with these massive ventilation tubes, meticulously testing the air, and lowering themselves into the depths on heavily secured lifelines. Honestly, it almost looks like they're prepping for a spacewalk or a deep-sea dive, doesn't it? And, the level of precaution required here is practically identical to that. It's an extreme mission, and it demands absolute perfection. Here is our agenda for today, which we're going to treat as our very own vital entry checklist. We'll cover the hidden hazards, gearing up, the 9-step protocol, surviving the danger zone, and finally, the rescue lifeline. Okay, jumping right into part 1, the hidden hazards, the invisible killers. So inside this empty tank, you're facing a literal domino effect of invisible threats. You've got fundamentally poor ventilation, which allows toxic and flammable gases that can ignite with just a single spark, to just build up entirely undetected. At the same time, they're choking out the oxygen, which ultimately leads to a terrifying risk of engulfment. And honestly, the absolute scariest part of all of this, you can't even see most of these threats. You might not even smell them until your body is already shutting down. That is exactly why understanding this environment isn't just about ticking boxes on some clipboard. It's quite literally about survival. And this brings us to this incredibly specific number, 20.8%. To survive, your atmosphere testing has to confirm this exact, non-negotiable oxygen level. Not around 20, not close enough, exactly 20.8%. It's actually fascinating and a little scary just how fragile human biology is, right? Anything less than that and your cognitive functions start to drop. You get clumsy, you get confused, but anything more than that, and you risk entering a highly oxygenated, dangerously flammable environment. Talk about a razor-thin margin for life. And it doesn't stop at oxygen. Check out this table. Your monitors have to register absolutely 0 for the toxic killers before anyone gets the green light to move forward. Flammable gases must be at 0 LEL, which stands for lower explosive limit. And as for hydrogen sulfide, H2S, and carbon monoxide, or CO, they've got to be at 0 ppm, parts per million. Literally 0. Because a single part per million can be the difference between a routine job and a full-blown catastrophic emergency. The air has to be proven entirely, 100% clean. All right, section 2, gearing up for entry, your armor and your arsenal. This table perfectly breaks down the specialized heavy-duty gear you need for this. Notice how every single piece of entry gear, things like your SCBA, your self-contained breathing apparatus, your safety harness with the lifeline, the two-way radio keeping you tethered to the outside world, is matched pound for pound by heavy-duty extraction hardware. You've got winches, rescue tripods, first aid kits, and a ventilation blower continuously feeding the space. Literally half your gear is dedicated solely to pulling you out if things go south. Moving into section 3, the 9-step protocol. This is your blueprint for survival. Steps 1 through 5 are all about grounded, incredibly methodical prep. You do a thorough risk assessment, which dictates your permit to work. Once that entry permit is officially authorized, you've got to completely isolate all lines and energy sources, because obviously you don't want the tank accidentally flooding while you're inside. Then you test the atmosphere for all those invisible killers we just talked about, and you continuously pump in fresh ventilation. Just think about that for a second. You've completed 5 exhaustive, highly critical preparation steps, and you haven't even opened the hatch yet. That's how seriously this is taken. Now, what's really wild about this next slide is that you don't even physically start your descent until step 7. First, you do a top-to-bottom check of your personal protective equipment, your PPE, along with all the rescue gear. Then, and only then, does entry begin. You go in fully strapped to your safety harness and lifeline, and from there, it's about maintaining a constant line of communication the entire time you're working, ending with a strict closed-loop exit where every single person is accounted for before the permit is officially closed out. It's a system designed to ensure absolutely no one gets left behind in the dark. Okay, Section 4, Surviving the Danger Zone, the rules of engagement once you're inside. Once you're actually in there, entirely new rules apply to keep you alive. Your literal lifeline is your SCBA suit and continuous communication. You wear that breathing apparatus at all times. You use your safety harness because that is your one physical connection to the extraction team up above. You keep talking. And, maybe most importantly, look at that last bullet point. You absolutely must empower yourself to stop work the second something feels off. In an enclosed space, you are the eyes and ears on the ground. If an alarm so much as beeps or you feel even slightly lightheaded, the whole operation stops immediately, no questions asked. This do's and don'ts list contrasts life-saving behaviors with fatal mistakes. And the crazy thing is, the fatal mistakes are usually the simplest ones. Deciding to enter without a permit, going in by yourself, taking off your PPE just because it's hot or uncomfortable, or trying to rush the job. And above all else, listen to me on this one. If your monitor goes off, do not ignore the alarm warnings. Inside a ballast tank, an alarm is not a friendly little reminder, it is a countdown. Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, the Rescue Lifeline, planning for the absolute worst. Because the harsh reality of enclosed space entry is that even if you do everything flawlessly and follow every single rule to the letter, you still have to have a safety net ready for an emergency. If a worker collapses inside, they obviously can't save themselves. And a rescuer can't just climb down a standard ladder carrying dead weight. You need a rescue tripod set up right over the hatch, you need a mechanical winch for lifting power, and you must have a dedicated rescue team physically standing by, armed with first aid and oxygen, ready to pull you out without entering that toxic environment themselves. Having a rescue plan isn't just an afterthought, it's the whole reason the operation can even happen in the first place. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to highlight this core operational mantra drawn right from the source materials. Plan the work, do a risk assessment, follow the procedure, think safety, work safely. It's simple, it's direct, and it's a perfect reminder that meticulous preparation is never, ever optional. That preparation is the shield protecting you from all those invisible killers we've been talking about. And finally, I want to leave you with this really sobering warning from the original poster. It takes just a few seconds for a safe entry to turn into a tragedy. Just a few seconds. All those strict protocols, the heavy gear, the constant communication, they exist entirely for those few seconds. So it really begs the question, considering just how incredibly fast the invisible dangers of a ballast tank can strike, are you truly prepared before you take that first step into the dark?